In a quiet village nestled between two great mountains, there was a serene temple known as the Sanctuary of Flow. It was a place where seekers of truth came to learn the ways of Zen from the temple's wise and enigmatic master, Tetsu. The village itself seemed untouched by time. Its cobblestone paths wound through fields of golden rice, and a gentle river meandered past the temple walls, whispering ancient secrets to those who would listen. Among the temple's students was a young monk named Ren. Ren was diligent and earnest, yet his mind was restless. Each morning he would meditate under the great cherry tree in the courtyard, but instead of peace, he found himself plagued by questions. What is the nature of existence? Where does life begin, and where does it end? These thoughts consumed him, casting a shadow over his studies. One day, unable to bear the weight of his unanswered questions, Ren approached Master Tetsu. Bowing deeply, he said, "Master, I have meditated, studied, and chanted, yet my mind is troubled. I cannot grasp the truth. Where does life begin? Where does it end?" Master Tetsu gazed at Ren with a serene smile. "Come," he said simply, rising from his seat. He led Ren through the temple's courtyard and out to the riverbank. The water shimmered in the sunlight, flowing gently over smooth stones. Master Tetsu bent down, cupped some water in his hand, and let it trickle back into the river. "Tell me, Ren," the master said, "where does this water begin, and where does it end?" Ren stared at the river, pondering the question. "The water comes from the mountains," he said after a moment, "and it flows to the sea." Master Tetsu nodded. "And where does the sea go?" "The sea evaporates into clouds," Ren replied. "And the clouds bring rain back to the mountains." The master's smile deepened. He cupped more water in his hand and let it fall again. "Do you see? The water has no beginning and no end. It simply flows, changing forms, yet it is always the same." For a moment, Ren was silent, watching the river. He felt as though the world had paused. The master's words echoed in his mind, their simplicity revealing a profound truth. Life, too, was like the water, endlessly flowing, without a true beginning or end. The boundaries he sought were illusions, created by his own mind. That night, Ren returned to the temple, but something within him had shifted. He no longer meditated with the same sense of urgency. Instead of seeking answers, he allowed his mind to rest in the present moment, observing the rhythm of his breath, the rustle of the leaves, and the distant murmur of the river. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Ren began to live like the river, flowing effortlessly with the current of life. Yet his journey was far from over, for while he had glimpsed the truth, his understanding was still incomplete. One autumn morning, Master Tetsu called the students together for a lesson. The cherry tree's leaves had turned a brilliant red, and a crisp breeze carried the scent of the harvest. The master held up a single leaf, its edges delicate and curling. "This leaf," he said, "will soon return to the earth. Is its journey ending, or is it beginning?" The students exchanged puzzled glances, but Ren stepped forward and bowed. "Master," he said, "just as the river has no beginning or end, neither does the leaf. It will decay and nourish the soil from which new life will grow. Its journey is both ending and beginning." Master Tetsu's eyes twinkled with approval. "Well said, Ren. Yet understanding this truth is not enough. You must embody it. The mind may grasp the cycle, but the heart must feel it." Ren spent the following months contemplating the master's words. He observed the cycles of nature with newfound clarity, the blossoming and withering of flowers, the ebb and flow of the tides, the waxing and waning of the moon. Each cycle was a reflection of life's eternal flow, yet he felt there was still a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered. One day, Master Tetsu announced that he would take Ren on a journey to the mountain springs where the river began. The two set out at dawn, their path winding through forests and meadows. As they climbed higher, the air grew cooler, and the sound of rushing water became louder. Finally, they reached the spring, where crystal-clear water bubbled up from the earth and began its descent toward the valley below. Ren knelt by the spring, cupping the water in his hands and drinking deeply. It was purer and colder than any water he had ever tasted. "Is this the river's beginning?" Master Tetsu asked. Ren hesitated. "It feels like a beginning," he said, "but I know that this water has traveled far beneath the earth to reach this point. Perhaps it is not a beginning, but another moment in its journey." The master nodded. "And so it is with life. Every moment is a continuation of what came before and a precursor to what will follow. There is no fixed point where anything begins or ends." As they descended the mountain, Ren carried the spring's water in his heart, its purity mirroring the clarity of his growing understanding. He began to see the interconnectedness of all things more vividly than ever before. Seasons passed, and Ren's practice deepened. He became known among the other monks for his calm demeanor and wisdom. Yet he remained humble, for he knew that true understanding was infinite, like the river itself. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ren sat by the river watching its surface shimmer in the fading light. He noticed a single leaf floating on the water, carried effortlessly by the current. He felt a profound sense of unity with the leaf, the river, and the world around him. Suddenly, a thought arose in his mind. If there is no beginning and no end, then what am I? The question hung in the air, not as a burden, but as a gateway. Ren closed his eyes and allowed the question to dissolve into the silence. In that moment, he experienced a profound realization. He was not separate from the river, the leaf, or the universe itself. He was part of the flow, inseparable from the infinite dance of existence. Years later, when Master Tetsu was on his deathbed, Ren sat by his side. The master's breathing was shallow, but his eyes were bright. "Ren," he said, "you have walked the path well. What have you learned?" Ren took the master's hand and smiled. "I have learned that life is like the river, endlessly flowing. There is no beginning and no end. To live is to flow with it, without resistance or clinging." Master Tetsu nodded, a look of deep contentment on his face. With his final breath, he whispered, "Well said, my dear student. Remember, the river flows on." As the master's hand grew still, Ren felt no sorrow, only gratitude. He walked to the riverbank and watched the water under the moonlight. The river's song filled the night, a timeless melody that carried the essence of his master's teachings. And so Ren continued his journey, not as a seeker of truth, but as one who lived it. He became the river, flowing with grace through the ever-changing landscapes of existence, knowing that there was, indeed, no beginning and no end. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and let me know your thoughts. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.